How did finding my baby photo online reveal I was kidnapped from the hospital 28 years ago? I was reverse image searching photos for a graphic design project when my own infant face appeared in the results. The thumbnail was small but unmistakable, showing a newborn with the distinctive port wine birthmark that covers half my left cheek. I clicked through to a website called findourchildren.org and felt my coffee mug slip from my hand, shattering against my desk. The page was titled, Baby Ethan Calderon, stolen from Mercy General Hospital, May 3rd, 1996. The photo showed me in a hospital bassinet, wearing a blue knit cap with my birthmark clearly visible. Below it was an age progression image showing what I might look like at 28, and the resemblance to my current appearance was unsettling. The text explained that baby Ethan had been taken from the nursery during a shift change by someone impersonating a nurse. Security footage showed a woman in scrubs carrying the infant toward the loading dock, but cameras failed to capture her face or the vehicle she used. The case had gone cold after 6 months with no leads. My hands shook as I scrolled through details that made no sense. My parents were Richard and Susan Holloway, and they'd told me I was born in Chicago while my father was stationed there with the military. We moved constantly during my childhood, which they attributed to Dad's career requirements. But here was evidence suggesting I wasn't their biological child at all, that I'd been stolen from a hospital in Phoenix, Arizona, a city I'd never visited until a business trip last year. I touched the birthmark on my face, the one feature that had made me instantly recognizable my entire life. My mother always said it made me special, that some cultures considered port wine stains marks of good fortune. But now it felt like the evidence that would unravel everything I thought I knew about myself. The website listed contact information for Detective Iris Kowalski with the Phoenix Police Department and a direct line for the Calderon family. I stared at those phone numbers for 20 minutes, my cursor hovering over them, afraid of what calling would set in motion. If this was real, it meant my parents had kidnapped me. It meant everything about my identity was a lie, but if I ignored it, I'd spend the rest of my life knowing I'd seen this information and chosen to do nothing. I picked up my phone and dialed Detective Kowalski's number, my heart hammering so hard I could barely hear the ringtone. She answered on the third ring with a professional but tired voice that suggested she'd been working cold cases too long. I explained who I was and what I'd found, my voice breaking as I described the birthmark and the resemblance to the age progression photo. Detective Kowalski went silent for a long moment before asking me to repeat my name and current location. When I finished, she said something that made my blood run cold. Mr. Holloway, I've been working the Calderon case for 8 years, ever since the original detective retired. I look at Ethan's file every week, hoping for new leads. Can you send me a current photograph of yourself immediately? I used my phone to take a selfie that clearly showed my birthmark and emailed it to the address she provided. Less than 2 minutes later, she called back with barely controlled emotion in her voice. Mr. Holloway, I need you to understand what I'm about to say very carefully. Based on the photograph you just sent, there's a strong probability that you are Ethan Calderon. The birthmark is identical in size, shape, and location. The facial structure matches our age progression models. I need to arrange DNA testing immediately to confirm, but I believe you may have just solved a 28-year-old kidnapping case. The words felt unreal, like dialogue from a movie happening to someone else. I asked about the Calderon family, and Detective Kowalski's voice softened. Michael and Teresa Calderon never stopped searching. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on private investigators, age progression updates, and maintaining that website. They have 2 other children now, but they've never given up hope of finding their firstborn son. Would you be willing to speak with them? I said yes, before fully processing what that meant. Detective Kowalski explained she'd contact the Calderons and arrange a DNA test through a lab in my city, Denver, where I'd been living for the past 3 years. She warned me not to confront my parents yet, that if they were indeed the kidnappers, alerting them prematurely could lead to destruction of evidence or flight. I hung up and sat in my apartment surrounded by the wreckage of my shattered reality. Every family photo on my walls now felt like evidence in a crime scene. My parents weren't listed on social media, which they'd always attributed to Dad's military background and preference for privacy. We rarely visited extended family, and I'd met my grandparents only a handful of times before they died. The isolation that had seemed like a quirk of military life now looked like deliberate concealment. Then my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I felt something crack open inside me. Full story is linked below or on my channel.